Yes, a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone present here today. A very warm welcome to OPASSIVE Singapore, Malaysia Global. My name is Jeannie Tan, your host today. OPASSIVE was formed in November 2020 and run by a group of dedicated host team members. We had our first trial webinar on the 23rd of September 2021. And our first public webinar was on the 30th of September 2021 under the mentorship of Dr. Bill Williams. We meet on every Thursday. The mission of OPASSIVE is to ignite passion for humanity, to nurture mindset and leadership for passion and OBLESS, and to form passion groups for good causes. Today, our speaker is none other than Dr. John Ajongwen. But before we call upon Dr. John, I would like Mabel to play the next segment.
Yes, thank you.
Mabel.
This is just the beginning. I'm very happy how it came out. Nothing like we planned, but it was perfect.
We go to the top with the Philippines. We go to the top with the Netherlands.
Singapore.
We go Singapore.
Absolutely.
All
We
over
are
the
in
world.
Singapore. We'll make a show of it. Yeah.
Bangladesh.
Yeah, indeed.
See you at the top.
See you at the top. Thank you, Dr. Brill. Appreciate you.
We are here, we are on passive, shining bright into the future. We rise high with one heart and revolution, lifting up humanity as we rise, standing tall, hand in hand. We are the unicorn, we are the stars. In it to win it, in it to win it. In it to win it, in it to win it. Bringing hope, shining the light. We're a nation, we are rising with one love, with one goal, bringing solution, lifting up humanity. Let's rise high, standing tall, hand in hand. We are the unicorn, we are the stars. In
Greetings to all of you, our Singapore ONPASSIVE O Passion family. This is Dr. John Ajongwen from the United States of America. It is an honor and a pleasure for me to have been invited once more to come to this beautiful platform to actually meet and share with you. Today, Thursday, the 24th of October, 9 p.m. Singapore time, 9 a.m. Eastern time, we will be talking about debt elimination. Debt elimination for me is one of those key steps that we would need to take as we journey into this beautiful ONPASSIVE journey of getting ourselves out of debt, building up wealth, improving the lives of our families and those of our communities, and globally uplifting the world. I hope you would have the opportunity and the time and the chance to be with us. And I look forward to seeing all of you. We are all in it to win it.
Sorry,
we-
sorry.
Mabel, we missed the
Sorry,
resound.
Sorry. Thank you, everyone. And as Dr. John has roughly gave an introduction, today's topic is debt elimination. And a little bit about Dr. John. He is a highly educated man with a PhD in chemical and biochemical engineering and an MBA. He spent 20 years in the pharmaceutical industry with various pharma companies managing global projects. But something about the financial academy, his proficiency is wealth creation, debt elimination, wealth protection, legacy planning, and strategies for efficient wealth distribution. Thank you, Dr. John, for gracing and blessing us today and on our platform. The takeover, all the time is yours.
Wow. Thank you very much, Sister Mabel. Thank you, Sister Jeannie, Brother John Barella, and my twin brother, Mr. Kumaran. Those your videos make a black man blush, and I am so proud when I see them. And honestly, when I tell you that the day that I grow up, I would like to be like you, the way you play around with technology, 5 seconds, and then you create a miracle, at least in my eyes. And it's really an honor. It's also an honor to be back on this platform one more time. And I really, if you think about, I attend a couple of the platforms that I call the sister platforms, and in addition to like the dream team that I go to regularly, deep dive, the engineer Mike when he used to run, and then Julie Pierre. One of the common themes that I like about these platforms is really the fact that you have set it up to really empower us. You have set it up to educate us, and you have set it up to make sure that we have the right mindset. Today, some of you may have seen this topic on another platform. There's a variation, so it's the same topic, but it depends how I get up on bed, and maybe I get a few more ideas and throw a few things in and there, here and there. But the honest truth is that this is knowledge that is generally available, but it is also not very visible to us. So today, I thought we should talk about debt elimination, or what I call debt management. And in the intro that I sent to Brad Kumarang, and he created a younger version of me in that avatar, we talked about it as being a foundational, and you would see why I personally feel it's foundational. So let's just jump in and get started. So let's start by thinking about the physical and the mental, which is why I talked about loving this platform. Our CEO has graciously told us that it's a done deal. The physical, the cash, whatever it is, this is our last bus stop. ONPASSIVE will provide us all the means to be able to do whatever we want to do for ourselves and to uplift humanity. However, whether you've been in ONPASSIVE for the last 3 years, you've been in ONPASSIVE for the last 6 years, if you have been listening every time that our CEO had shown up for any meeting, he normally spends a significant portion of his time trying to build our mental aspects, the mental part, because the physical part, as he said, is a done deal. It's being done for us, Catmo. It's being done by talented tech team working literally 25, 26 hours in a day, so hard on our behalf. Now it is left for us to get the mental aspects of it right. And in most of his corporate webinars, our CEO normally goes to great lengths to try and impact that mental development in our mindsets. And so the focus that you have been doing on this platform of developing that compassion and that mindset is really something that we need to appreciate. Now, why am I talking about this physical and the mental? I think everyone on this platform has seen this particular graphic, which is from the Rich Dad or Cash Flow Quadrants by Robert Kiyosaki. And it is very important for us in ONPASSIVE because if you're like me, or maybe 99% of us, we actually come to ONPASSIVE from this side of the equation, the left-hand side of this graphic. Just think about a lot of people that go out there, they win millions and millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in lotteries or in whatever programs, and then they become miserable. They become broke. They lose their families. Some of them even end up dying sooner than they would have if they didn't. Here we are in ONPASSIVE. For $97 that got refunded to us, we have found families across the globe. We have families in every corner of the world that are genuine family members that we can reach out to. It's a mindset change. When it comes to a business and the way that we are being transitioned into ONPASSIVE, our CEO found us either as employees, where many of us still have our jobs, we're working on our jobs, we need to stay there because we need to pay the bills, or some of those who are a bit adventurous actually went and started something for themselves, whether it's a consultancy or you set up your small type of business. The characteristics of those jobs in that left-hand side is that we basically have that employee mindset. And I normally say it that when you are a typical employee, there's this balancing game we play with our employers. We are just putting in enough effort not to be fired, and they're just paying us enough so that we don't quit. Now, ONPASSIVE has found us, and ONPASSIVE will place us in this quadrant 3 here, which we will be business owners. And as business owners, the thinking is different. The biggest advantage of a business owning is that you can actually use a system that the business brings. Think of McDonald's. Think of Cadmo that our CEO is going to give us through ONPASSIVE. And we leverage those systems or even standard operating procedures you use at your job and policies. All of those are systems. We use those along with employees to run the business. And in most cases, we don't really even know where the business owner is. Business owner may be chilling out somewhere. And he has systems set up that would be running his business. The mindset and the thinking approach is different from those of us employees. And once you have created that money from your businesses or even as some remaining part of from our jobs, it is great to be able to actually put that money to work so that the money generates more money for us. Many of us, we do not know how to do this. We either just look at the sexiest stock that is there. We hear about whatever some of our cousins or co-workers tell us, and we emotionally invest. So most of this end up with us not really achieving financial success. And so getting that right, that mindset from moving from the left side where we're working for our money to actually moving to the right side where the systems and or money works for us is something that we need to actually develop that mindset. But again, a lot of you have seen this slide, and I'll show it again and I'll show it again, that for us to transition and think of building this solid financial foundation, we have to build it just like we're building a house. We build it from the foundation and build step by step up, rather than just do it in a haphazard way, because that's where many of us, I included, have found ourselves in trouble. So at the very base of that foundation is protection. Then there's debt management or debt elimination. There's emergency fund, and then there's that saving. I will look at this slide again and talk into it, but for now, just think about these numbers here. Typically, you want to target like 10x. So if 10x your income should be something that you target for your protection, we want to aim for zero debt, although I just want to caution here, there's something like good debts and bad debts, and I think we'll touch on that later. And for emergency fund, you want to get like 6 to 12 months of your savings put aside somewhere, preferably not very accessible, so that if we encounter turbulence in life, you can always keep yourself going before you get back to your feet. So what we want to talk about is taking control of our futures, because no one else is going to do it. Even when our CEO gives us ONPASSIVE, it will be up to us as to what we do with it. So we need to be mentally ready. We need to build that mental muscle. And if you've heard our CEO say it, our ultimate aim should be to go out there and uplift humanity. And for us to be able to do that, obviously, we need to be able to fill our own tanks. You need to have energy. You need to do the exercise before you can go run to help someone else. Or as they normally say it, when you board a flight, what the cabin crew normally start before the plane takes off is do what? They show us the life vests. They show us the gas where the masks would fall off from above our heads, and they tell us that in the event of any loss of cabin pressure, when those masks come down, make sure that you put your own mask first before you can go out and help someone else. So we need to be able to fill our masks, our own tanks, sorry. And these three ideas of protection debts and emergency fund, those actually help us to fill our tanks and prepare us to be able to go out there, build wealth, and then help others. And so when I talked about the protection as the base foundation of your house, we're looking at basis like various types of insurance type policies. You're talking about life insurance. You're talking about health insurance. You're talking about disability insurance. And as many of us will be traveling back and forth, you're talking about things like travel insurance. Those are things that we need to consider because, as we say it, life always throws curveballs at us. We want to be able to react, not when it happens. Just think about it. If you're sitting in a plane and your seat does not have a parachute and you run into some problems, if you don't have that parachute, it's too late. So that is why it is fundamental. And when it comes to how much of it, typically some professionals say 10 times your annual salary will be a good starting point. So when the apples start flowing, think about that. There are other types of insurance protections that we can consider, but I just wanted to throw this out. And then the one that we'll be talking about today, debt management. The problems with debt, and I will touch on it in the next slide, is what it does to us mentally and really takes away the bandwidth for us to be able to think. And then there is an emergency fund, which I've talked on. We want to make sure that if you lose your job, or like we started ONPASSIVE, the gates were opened last September. Little did our CEO or even any of us think that there were going to be some turbulences or things that were not expected. And now there's been a period of readjusting. And during that period of readjusting, many of us have had to recalibrate our dreams, recalibrate our goals, not the end goals, but the short term. And an emergency fund will come in very handy if you think about it. And once you have done all these things, now you can actually think. You can do what I describe as having financial independence or financial freedom, which in a nutshell is not really talking about living in extravagance, but it's really talking about some very basic fundamental things like saving more than we spend, having those emergency funds, being able to build both those medium and long-term savings, having the proper protection, living within one's means, and as we talk about it, making sure that debts are no longer an issue for you. And when we talk about this idea of debt, I mentioned that debts don't really only affect us physically, but I read an article that said somebody who has a plan and does not have debt, they can walk tall. It's not just that that person all of a sudden becomes taller, but all of a sudden, some of these emotional things like anxiety, self-confidence, stress, frustration, even the impact on your families, they are eliminated. We all know that relationships break down because of financial problems, and those financial problems always come in because of debt. And you cannot sit now and start thinking about what I'm going to do in the future when you cannot even figure out how you're going to eat today. So being able to get rid of debts becomes critical. So I think I was just sharing this to some of our in another webinar last night, that when we think about debts and think about it from our personal lives and think about how we run a business, the concepts are the same. And we talk about personal debts, and then you look at a business, and the business start talking about a profit and loss. Those type of things, those two things are the same. If you have a company that keeps running and you get them reporting losses and losses and losses, you start seeing that there is a lot of anxiety. People start losing their jobs. They start laying off people. They start shutting down facilities. But for us as individuals, we need to make sure that when we do our own P&L or profit and loss, at least it is not negative. And how do you do that? It is just really saying, if I take my income and I take off my expenses, there should be something left, or at the very least gets close to zero. Or if it gets negative, not for a long time. And at the same time, in our lives, we should, when we manage our finances, also be able to have personal balance sheets, which makes sense. So again, from a business point of view, a balance sheet is really the difference between your assets and your liabilities. That's what you own and minus what you owe. And they will say the net is equal to the business equity. Or in our own personal lives, we need to have our own profit and loss and balance sheets accounts where you look at what are the assets I own, my home, my cash, my cars, and so on. And then the liabilities could be the car loans, the mortgage that you're owing, some other debts that you're owing. And when you subtract those, we normally get our own personal equity, which people call net worth. Many of us at the moment are in the red. And with ONPASSIVE, hopefully when we balance things up, it will be a very, very huge net worth, which we then manage for the rest of our lives and hopefully transfer it. So when it comes to this idea of managing debt, the strategy is try to get out of debt as soon as we can. And one of the things that, as I was just thinking about, is I shared this. It's like very old Disney cartoon, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, which they come in the evening and we dig in our mind all day long. And so when it comes to getting out of debt, one of the things we need to avoid is to be in the hole digging and throwing the debt out, because as you're digging and throwing it out, at the end of the day, you realize that there's amount of debt out there and you're deeper in the hole. So we need to implement strategies where we're digging ourselves out of debt rather than digging ourselves into more debt. And one of the things that, again, affect us in our ability to be able to get finance is this idea of credit score. I know that for you guys in the Singapore, Malaysia area, you have your credit bureau and you normally get like credit reports from those credit bureaus. I just browsed through very briefly just to see what are some of the factors that could actually affect our personal credit and why we cannot get loans or why we cannot get them at good percentages. For those of us here in the United States, we have what they call the credit bureaus. There are 3 of them. So same thing, credit bureau. And our credit bureaus, they actually have our credit scores, and they go from something like 300 all the way to 850. I believe for you guys, it's like A to F. And depending on where your score is, it actually has a huge impact on the credit that you can get. So for you guys with your credit bureau, you have things like the account history, you have previous inquiries, the number of default records, bankruptcies, and so on. So those are some of the factors that affect your score when the credit bureaus go in and they try to give you a credit score. For us in the United States, guess what? Almost the same things come into play. After all, They're the same credit card companies across the globe. So chances are that they'll tend to use the same factors, but call them slightly different or apply them slightly differently. So you realize that the account history, just like with you guys, is number one, the payment history, how you have been handling those payments. In the US, it actually accounts for 35% of the credit score. I did not really have time to check what that percentage is or how it factors, but I saw that it is the first item that the credit bureaus consider. Then they talk about previous inquiries, those come into play for you. But for us, things like the utilization. If you have a credit card that you're maxing it out, obviously you're telling the person there that I am not a good credit prospect. And so it will affect you. And then obviously missing payments, that becomes a big issue. And the length of how long you have had that credit card, again, which factors into the account history, becomes an important factor. Here in the United States, if you have been in bankruptcy, that actually stays on your credit score for at least 7 years. And it does have a very severe negative impact to your credit score. So that, again, when I was looking, I saw that default records and bankruptcies are some of the things that your credit bureau looks at them. So being out of debt or being able to manage our debts in a reasonable way actually becomes very important. So whether it's been on this platform or it's been on some of our sister platforms as we've been going through, what we have been trying to do for fellow ONPASSIVians have been really to help people to develop this, what we call healthy financial habits. Again, habits are what? Are things that we learn, things that we can change our mind, we can change our habits. So we have not been talking about any physical things. We've been looking at what we call the healthy financial habits, because when we get those healthy financial habits, what they do is that they will then help us to be able to build wealth. And alongside those healthy financial habits, we have gone through what we call 6 steps to financial independence, which include things like cash flow, debt, emergency fund. Again, you can see the same things repeating themselves. And behind those are some tools that along the way we have talked about: planning, budgeting, debt management tools, or if it comes to these ones of accumulating and protecting and then doing estate planning, we have also talked about different tools that we can use on that. So just drilling a bit deeper into debt management, which is the focus of our talk today. The good news, if that can be good news, is that when it comes to debt, we're not alone. Everybody has debt. And what we need to know is, how is that debt? What is it used for? What is the debt to your income ratio? Because when those debts starts becoming very high, now there is no more bandwidth for you to maneuver up there. And then what we do is recognizing that we will always get into debt, or that we end up having to have debt. What we need to do is figure out how to get out of debt. Whenever you have like a credit card or whatever, when your debtors send you statements, they always tell you like the minimum that you should pay. One training program that I did, which I really tried to target the younger generation here, was really as a whole session that I did on understanding your credit card statement and how to pay it. Because if somebody had a credit card and all that they did was pay the minimum, it would take them tens of years to pay out that debt. And by the time they finish paying, it'll probably be about 4 or 5x what they borrowed in the first place. But if you even cannot make that minimum payment, then you get into more debt because now you got late payment charges, you got missed payment charges. And what happens is that those debts now start growing to a point where a $500 debt that you took out and you have been paying a minimum, then making a couple of skipped payments would end up being $800-900 very shortly. So we talked about ways that you can eliminate your debt. Some of those methods we talked about it, like a snowball method or avalanche method. We talked of refinancing the debt. Yes, you can do that, especially if you are able to get it at a lower interest rate. And then obviously, when you come across windfalls, or if you end up that we are blessed and ONPASSIVE gives us money, the first thing is you want to pay off those loans. Why? Because you want your interest to be working for you rather than to be working against you. And I think in one of our trainings, we had mentioned something about the rule of 72, which in a very short nutshell is how long it takes for your money to double. So if you owe money, the rule of 72 can play against you. If you earn money, that rule of 72 can work for you. And what we want to do is leverage those type of tools to actually work for us. Obviously, one of the other things that we can do is, as we say, live within your means, cut your coat according to your size or whatever. Yes, you don't necessarily have to buy, if my brother, Mr. Kumara, has an expensive car and I cannot afford it, there is no need trying to be a Kumaran if I'm not able to afford it. So downsize if necessary. I have to come down to what is my own level. And then by doing that, I could actually get rid of my debts and then start moving forward. And as we said, if you can pay off those debts, pay them off. If you cannot pay, there are always options for you to negotiate. A lot of people do not realize that they can actually get back to their lenders and negotiate. And some of those lenders would actually negotiate. The first thing they try to do is they will negotiate like the payment terms so that you still end up paying the same debt. But if you understand the rule of 72, you can, first of all, ask for a better interest rate. And in another way, you can actually negotiate by refinancing the debt, as we talked about. So I did talk about debt, and I said not all debt is bad debt. Think about it this way. I take a debt and I buy, I go buy something that, I call a liability, which is going to depreciate and not really create any value for me. After a short time, I have a debt that I'm carrying. I don't have anything that I have bought, which is of worth, and that is a bad debt. Amazingly, things like some cars or clothes, you can put them in the bad debt category depending on what it is, because you can always buy some good clothes that you use, or you can go buy some super designer stuff that you're not able to afford and becomes bad debt. On the other side, think of Sister Mabel came with some crazy investment opportunity for me. We looked at it, the numbers do the work out very well. And we go out there and we get what we call OPM, that's other people's money, whether it's from banks or from other financial institutions, and we invest. That money is the returns are creating enough to pay off those debts and also give us some additional income. When you run my balance sheet, you may find out that I am actually in debt. But when you look at my profit and loss, you may say I'm in debt. You look at my balance sheet, you may actually see that my net worth is much more because of that debt. So it's not the message that we need to remember here is not all debt is bad debt. We just need to understand assets and liabilities so that when we are incurring the debts, we are using them more for assets. Just think about this piece of the pie here. Family A are the, what I call the middle class, and the family B are those people who are knowledgeable and understand how these things work, or what we call the wealthy. And if you look at it, it doesn't really matter which side you are. Typically, about half of the expenses or the income goes towards living expenses. So yeah, they may buy more expensive toys and so on, but about half of their income goes towards that. And then, they know how to actually go into a lower tax brackets through their investments and so on. Most of us who are working, when you get your paycheck, everything is taken care of. And in one of the presentations we made, I did talk about the beauty of us being in ONPASSIVE is that we now business owners, and businesses have a lot of tax write-ups. And we did share some of those in one of our presentations. And you can actually end up minimizing the taxes you pay because you're a business owner. And then the debts that we have, unfortunately, as a slice of the pie, tend to be higher. The wealthier or the more informed, they pay off the bad debt, they take good debt, and that good debt allows them to be able to generate a lot more wealth, and they are able to have a bigger slice of the pie that they use to save and build wealth. So from a mindset point of view, what we want to do is move away from being the average Joe to learning some of these debt payment methods, knowing how to legally reduce your taxes using the ONPASSIVE business that we have, so that we can actually build a larger piece of this slice in our savings, put them in the right savings and investment vehicles so that we can then build wealth for future generations, or to be able to go out there and do all those things that are dear and close to our hearts. So very quickly, I'm going to talk about two very simple strategies for paying off your debt. The last time we did this, actually pulled up an Excel spreadsheet and I tried to run some numbers. Will not necessarily do that today, but I want to just explain these two methods because they are very simple to apply, but if we apply with discipline and while applying them, stop digging ourselves deeper into the hole, we can pay off the debts easier. These two methods, you can Google them. They're extensively written about, and some of the calculators are actually available even online. The first method is what we call the avalanche method. And for this strategy to work, what you need to do is look at all the debts you owe and rank them with the highest interest loan first. Ignore the amount that you're paying for the amount of the loan initially. So you just start maybe a $3,000 loan that is 25%. Then there is a $5,000 loan that is 18%, a $1,000 loan that is 12%, and then maybe a $10,000 loan that is 3%. You just rank them highest interest to lowest interest. Make sure that for each of those debts, you are doing the regular, at least minimum payments for each of them. Why? You don't want to run into missed payment and start getting into penalties, but you want to keep paying so that your credit score at least stays not too bad. And then if you have some extra money, and again, in a different presentation, we have talked about how just by thinking we can find those extra dollars that leak through our fingers and we don't realize. Even if it's an extra $50 or $100, start by applying it to the first debt while paying the minimum for the others. Once you've paid off that first debt, then you take the amount that you used to pay for that first debt plus that additional amount that you used in order to accelerate that debt and apply it to the second. Once you finish paying the second while the rest are still on their, as I said, minimum payments, now you have the debt, the amount you were paying for the first, the amount you are paying for the second, plus that extra money that you found. You apply that to pay for or to start paying the third one. And now you basically have something that started down becomes like an avalanche and it just rolls down. And what that does is that it would help you to pay off your debt quicker. The issue here is that you could end up not necessarily paying the debt faster, but you would end up paying less of interest on those debts because you were tackling the ones with the highest interest first. The other method is a snowball method. And with the snowball method, again, what you do, maybe if I just move up here, we talked about it. And before I jump to the snowball method, so what are some of the types of loans that we can actually pay off with them? You pay off like credit cards, personal loans, student loans, auto loans, medical bills. Things like mortgages, normally just set those aside because they are typically of such a long duration that if you start putting them in the mix, it's going to take you 30 years to pay off your debts. So pay off these other shorter loans, and then if you create a lot more money, you can then go accelerate your mortgage. So these are some of the types you can use. Now, the strategy, I just described it. And when we go to the snowball method basically says, instead of worrying about the interest rate you're paying on those debts, start by ranking your debts according to the size of the debt. So in that previous example I gave, maybe the $10,000 loan had the smallest interest. Now that becomes your first loan. You put them now, you're ranking them in order of size. So from the largest to the smallest. Same strategy, make sure that you're paying the minimum for each of those debts. The extra money that you have been able to put aside or that you want to devote towards your debt payment, you start by putting that money to tackle the smallest loan first. So now I had a $1,000 loan that was maybe 15% interest or whatever that percent is. I don't really care. I had my minimum payment on that loan was maybe $100. So if I had to be paying that loan $100 every month, it would take me 10 months to pay that loan. Now I found another $100. I added to that $100, and now it became $200. I'm tackling this $1,000 loan now with that $200, and what happens is that instead of paying that debt off in 10 months, I have paid it literally in 5 months. Month number 6, I take the $200 that I used to accelerate the first loan, and I take it and I put it to the second smallest loan. If that second smallest loan had a minimum balance of $100, now I have added $200 to it. That loan now that payment now becomes $300, which means I'll pay that loan now off in 1/3 the time that I was initially going to be paying for it if I had just kept paying it for $100. Just take those $300 that you have, apply to the fourth loan, and shorten the time that you pay that. Take those funds again, apply to the next one, and it shortens the time. So if you've been following the logic, the advantage of using this methodology is that it shrinks the time that you take to pay off your debt. It may end up actually not necessarily reducing the interest you pay on those debts, but what it did was it cut down on the time that you paid the debt. If, for example, the interest that you were accruing on that small loan ended up being a significant number. But in most cases, this snowball, or what they call the debt rollout strategy, it really helps, because if you had been sitting on a debt that you looked at it and the debt was going to take you maybe the next 4 years to pay it, and you're able to pay it off in the next 2 years, let's say. Now, what that does for you is now you have 2 years with that money that you are using to pay off those debts to be able to put into your investments or to add and build your emergency fund. And that frees you up a lot to be able to move into the next phase of building your wealth. So here again, what we're trying to do is build on the success from each loan to the other. I did think about other strategies that we could use. And some of those strategies, they're written out there for debt elimination. One of them is called snowflaking. So if you think about it, maybe you're not able to add that extra $100 and consistently put that money to use, but maybe today you have $200, tomorrow $5. You know what they're saying is, this found money, just put it in to reduce your debt, pay it as additional principal. And those little acts of kindness, if I call them, will lead you to getting out of debt sooner. And then there is obviously the issue of, not the issue, the idea of debt consolidation. When you get into debts, and there are some that are 5%, there's some that are 15%, and you're able to get a good deal where somebody can give you a bigger consolidation loan for maybe 5.5%. What that's going to happen is it's going to drive down your interest. And you can combine this idea of consolidation with, one of those strategies like the snowball method, and actually accelerate how fast you're going to pay your debt. And then there is what you call debt management, which really talks about going through some of these counseling services that will be able to talk to some of the lenders. And if those strategies don't work, people actually use debt settlement. And there are some of these companies out there that I would not advise should be your first port of call, but they are there, the professionals. There will be third parties that you probably have to pay them, or you have to go and work with them. Then they'll bring up a strategy where you're paying them a lump sum monthly, or you're paying them regular amounts, or you're paying them a lump sum, and then they will talk to your lenders and try to negotiate different rates for you to actually pay those debts. And in most cases, you pay them out faster. However, most of these debt settlement strategies would probably tell you to stop making those payments on your debts, so that you pushes those lenders to negotiate with them. And while it may or may not be the best strategy, if your credit is already right there, in the mud, well, then people say, I don't really care because I have no credit, I can reduce the debt. But in general, when you go through this particular strategy, stopping the payment of your loans and having to be getting all those collection calls left, right, and center. Those can be nerve-wracking, but one of the things they do is that they actually run down your credit very badly. And then hopefully when you pay those debts, you would be able to recover. The other disadvantage of it is that some lenders may not lend to you if they know that you have gone through this process, because what stops you from doing the same thing to them again? So just thinking about it as a summary, really having a clear understanding of your debt is the first step to, acknowledging the problem is something that helps to solve it. Trying to be what I call disciplined, not get into a lot of debt while you're trying to get out of debt is something that we need to do. And then deciding on a strategy that you would use for your debt elimination is something that we should actually adopt. That strategy could involve the two methods I shared. It could involve the other alternatives I actually shared on the previous slide. It could just involve you calling the lenders and saying, look, this is where I am. What can you do for me? What's the worst thing that they'll do? They will say no, right? And it brings you back to the same situation. So calling some of them might not be a bad idea to say, can you help me? I'm in trouble. And some of them will be willing to work with you. But whatever option you decide, while you're getting yourself out of debt, I've said stop spending. So stop digging yourself into more debt. And at the same time, try and be putting some little monies left, right, and center as savings, especially for your emergency fund, because even in the midst of trying to get out of debt, emergencies can arise and you want to be prepared. You don't want to be like one lady who came to a training, and when they asked, what's your emergency fund? She said, I have a $5,000 credit card that I have not activated. That is not an emergency fund. So hopefully with these ideas here and where we are in a good place in ONPASSIVE. Once the floodgates open, let's use some of these strategies to clean house, and then use those different pillars that I showed for building wealth. And that way, we should be in a good position to reach out there, help ourselves, help our families and our communities, and be able to reach out and help uplift humanity. I know that this is just very theoretical, but if there is any need, always reach out there and seek help. Ask and make sure you have second or third opinions, and then carry on from there. I'm going to stop here. Thank you for listening. And again, it was an honor to have been invited back to this beautiful platform. And I hope that you got something from this presentation this morning or this afternoon. We are all in it to win it. Back over to you, Sister Mabel.
Amen. Thank you so much. We are informed and rich, and we understand now better how to manage our debts. While I'm still digesting, maybe we can get those who put up their hands to speak first, while Dr. Pat is supporting you right away. Dr. Patience, please.
Good evening, Sister Mabel. How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
We are good.
No, you go to this presentation, you hear these things, and you learn different things, right? It's just like we read the Bible, we read the scripture today, it gives us a different message from when we read it tomorrow or when we read it the day before. But all the messages still end up to the same place. And what I really got today is the importance of the spirit of contentment. And that life is a marathon, not a sprint. You know, the speed at which a sprinter will run and the speed at which a marathoner will run is different. They pace themselves differently. So when he was talking about credit card and balances, especially for credit card, a lot of credit card company does a daily interest rate. I don't know whether anybody has know this, but I know this, and it's compounded. So they charge you interest on the interest the next day. I know this because I was trying to get my son out of credit card. I paid off his balance. He never used the card, and the next cycle we had the bill. So I called them. I said, I paid off this credit card. We've not used it. You have to bill. So, oh, sorry, ma'am. By the time you paid it, he had already carried a balance, and we're charging interest. I mean, the accrue interest. So I had to call and say, okay, what is the balance as of now that we're speaking so I can pay it off? So it is very tricky when you start carrying balances like that. And yes, I had the avalanche method, snowball method. And when he reminded us on the rule of 72, for me, it makes sense that I'll pay my highest interest first. Because what? The highest interest will double faster, right? Remember, most of the interests are compound interest. They are accruing interest on top of interest. So it is, as I said, a good reminder. But I watched a show one day, and this family was in so much debt, so they came for help. They said, "Oh, we don't have any money. We're in a deep end now. We really don't know what to do." So when they examined them, they had flat screen TV in every room. One thing, they said, "Why do you have flat screen TV? Every room have flat screen TV." They have multiple high-end cars. The kids had all the game console. They just had things that did not make sense. So they said first, and then they were staying in a big house that they cannot afford. They told them, you have to sell all your flat screen TV. You have to sell some of these cars. You have to downsize, ma'am. You have to live within your means. Dr. John said, what? Don't copy. There's a saying that cut your coat according to your size. You cannot wear an oversized coat. It will look funny on you. And when she did all of that after she hesitated, the amount of money they found from all those things that they sold and downsized the house was amazing. So let's not find ourselves in the rat hole of following what a society wants for us instead of what we can do for ourselves. So life is a personal journey. We should all kind of sort of really, we know what our plans are, stick with our plans and don't worry what A is doing. So yes, we are waiting for ONPASSIVE, but we can start putting some of this in practice. I am trying to do that myself, so we can start reducing this debt. Because truly, it causes some people problems because they're stressed. And stress creates cortisol hormones that do what cause a lot of illnesses. So thank you, Sister Mebe, for this topic. I'm glad that I was reminded to join today. I learned something again. Yes, I've heard this, but now he has combined it in a different way. That resonated. And it is really important, especially when we want to go and do our passion out there. We cannot be going with that. There's no way you can help somebody when you are yourself in trouble. So let's think about why we're waiting for ONPASSIVE. If we have this type of situation, what do we do to start getting ourselves out? Do we need to downsize? Do we have multiple cars that we don't really need? All of those things. And that's how you can find some of that money to reduce some of the debt. I heal. Thank you, Sister Mebe.
Wow. You know, when a wife compliments the husband, this is really something to learn of, you know. You can be so familiar and nothing else to learn, but Dr. John, your wife is still getting gems and being enlightened from you. What a loving couple. Thank you so much, Dr. John. Jeannie, if you can help me after John speaks. John Barela, yes?
Sister Mabel.
Yeah. Yes,
Uh,
yes.
the compliments Dr. P have to say because all the credit card Dr. John is having.
Oh, yes, you are right.
Yeah.
You are right, Brother Kumara. It's true, right? I have to beat him to get rid of those credit cards.
Oh yeah, you're from the same family, Ajongwen. Okay, fine. You get a couple of cards too. Ajongwen Junior or Senior. I don't. I think probably he's older than you, Dr. John.
Is it my
Okay.
turn?
Yes, John Barilla.
Okay. Yes. I'd like to say thank you very much, Dr. John. This was very insightful, very accurate. What I would like to say to everyone here listening, everything that he said, first of all, about your funds, your management of your money, all that first part of what he told us about. That's what you should do. He's got it all there, and that's what you should do now. But that's not what happens to a lot of folks, and sometimes it's your own irresponsibility or mismanagement or foolish misuse of your funds, but not always. You could get into pretty serious debt and be in trouble, even with the best of intentions and even with some of this knowledge, if certain things happen in your life. So what I'm saying is, listen to everything he said. The first part is what you should try to do, and you won't get into trouble. And you also have your wealth management later on. But what he told us about how to manage our debt if we are in situations, that was all very good, very accurate. So I would say, pay attention to that. What he told us, that's you get in a situation, what he was telling us will help you to do the right thing to get yourself out of debt. So that's all I really want to say to everybody is listen to it, listen to what he said, take the advice, and if you miss it or you didn't make notes or anything, this will be a place you can go watch it again on YouTube because it's all very good information, especially if you're already in a debt situation and in trouble. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much. It was a good, very good presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Brother John. Thank you. Okay, next we have Pastor Paul. Pastor Paul, over to you.
Yeah, good afternoon from here. What a wonderful day again. This time of this meeting is a time that is so critical. It takes, normally it takes divine intervention to remember the time. Sister Mabe is always sending, but before you know, the day will pass, the time will pass before you remember that I've mixed a webinar today, but most times Dr. John own is always difficult because when you see something that is affecting you, you always, your memory, your brain will not let that go, you remember. Because, especially when the debt is a concept that is universal in nature. So it's not a location, a limited or a specific, so it is all over the world. And sometimes we talk about live within your means. And I ask, what about those without means and they must live? So in that case, you cannot avoid debt. So you have responsibility, you are breathing, you must eat food, you must do that, you must bath, you must do one or two things. So before you know that, like John Barilla said, it's very, very critical that sometimes it is unintentional. But the situation, like people like Dr. John should also be able to advise the financial institutions to equally pen down, reduce their excessive debt profile. Because in some cases, I had an instance here in Nigeria where somebody collected just 16,000 naira from the bank, and before you know, 16,000 has gone to 150 something thousand. So if it were something bigger, how do you want somebody to offset such bills? But the knowledge is very, very important because somehow we will be able to manage with the knowledge of all the content that Dr. John has analyzed today. One can easily escape so many of those things because there are times that we want to live, we want to appease, or we want to satisfy somebody else, to impress somebody by doing what we are not supposed to do, live in a place that you are not supposed to live, you cannot afford, driving a car that you are not supposed to drive, things that you can live without, you can actually avoid them. But in most cases, because of social status and its pursuit of prestige and so many things, we tend to leave what get us into debt. And debt itself is like a trap, because there's a lot of things, like all the things that Dr. John has talked about, they are practical, except if you are somebody who is not exposed. But if you are exposed, you don't need interpretation to most of those things, because it's something that we are passing through daily, as long as we interact with different institutions of the society, as it has to do with finance. So this kind of topic has to be a current one. It's not something that should be once. And I want to appeal, like Dr. John said, like John Varela said, if possible, if there are ways that the copies can even be sent to, at least for to encourage us, for those of us that turn up for the meetings, that this content can be sent to our emails. That will now be an exclusive benefit for us, so that outsiders can watch on YouTube, and we will still have it in our email. Any day we can go back to it to look at them, because this is something that you can be going through daily, and it will be sharpening your memory and help you to control yourself. Once again, thank you very much. We are having a 3 Ajongwen today, adopted one from Singapore, Kumaran. Thank you very much. You are now becoming the Ajongwen. God bless you. Dr. John, thank you. Mabe and everybody for today.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, he doesn't have a doctor in front yet. Got to study Kumaran.
Thank you, Pastor Paul. Thank you for sharing.
So, Jenny, can I just say something
Sure.
regarding what Pastor Paul, and thank you, even Brother John. I think that was also a very important thing. The one of the reasons why a lot of us end up in some of this unintended trouble, apart from the beautiful thing which Pastor Paul say, where we're trying to live with the Joneses, is just also this. When I shared that slide on the six steps to financial freedom, one of them was really this idea that we do not actually do budgeting. And I think those of you who were with us last night, or have probably been with us sometimes, have seen something of this nature shared. And ironically, this is Elizabeth Warren is one of the senators here in the United States, and she actually popularized this book that she talked about, the ultimate lifetime money plan. And she talked, where many of us run into problems is because of these two words here. In our inability to differentiate between our needs and our wants. And so, because we commingle them, we think that the wants are absolutely top priority needs. And then, because of that lack of education or awareness, let me not put the education, awareness, we just commingle those two things, and we end up spending a lot of money in the wrong bucket. So, as Dr. Pat was just talking about, if you think about it, you go to a lot of people's homes, people say, oh, I need a TV in each of the rooms because I want to keep my kids happy. Really? Is that really a need? I need to make sure that we have money to go to the movies every week, every Friday evening. Really? Oh, I need a new pair of sneakers. No, I need a new pair of Nike sneakers. No, I actually need a new pair of the Jordan Air sneakers. Okay, can you see the criteria now? This person was not saying that I really need a pair of shoes to be able to go around. They have gone to the extent of having, it has to be a particular brand. So things that were really wants have migrated to the category of things that are needs. So if you look at this is Maslow's theory of the basic needs, food, shelter, clothing. Those are things that if we start off with those real basic ones, and then transportation becomes another critical one, and the foundational things that I talked about, like for your insurances and so on. Once you go past those, and you can really think about it and say, if I skip going to the movies on Friday, does life end for me? And if the answer is no, then that was not a need. And if we can just think about some of this 20-30, 50-20-30 rule of thumb, is very, very high level. And try to write down things that you have as needs. And sometimes when I see somebody, we do what we call a financial needs analysis, and they list things that they do with their monies. Then we sort of say, okay, what if we didn't do this once? Life will not end. If we adopt this, then what's going to happen is you absolutely need to be saving. You absolutely need your needs. And remember that 50% of that slice of the pie that I showed for both the wealthy and the middle class. Now, this starts giving you, the ones start giving you an opportunity. And it's from this opportunity that you can actually get out of debt. So I just thought I should share this particular concept because it's related to one of the tools that we can use to actually find the money to get out of debt. Thank you, Pastor Paul, for really reminding on that.
Thank you, Dr. John. Yeah, this is very valuable. Yeah, go for your needs and spend on your needs and not on your wants. I think a lot
Jeannie, pardon me. Someone just typed in saying, what YouTube channel can we go to see this for the information again? I just saw someone type that. Could you let people know if they want to see this later on YouTube, that they have to subscribe to our YouTube channel? Maybe tell them what it is and just kind of announce that. Anybody that can tell them that?
If
Did you understand what I was saying?
If they
Go ahead,
are
Mabel.
or if they are already on our group chat, usually I will post the YouTube, and if they are on any of like OP Friends or some OP Global, we broadcast all this YouTube there. The fact that they are here, they would be on one of the group chats. Then usually we post the YouTube in all of the group chats. If
And
they
could
want,
you say now, what is the actual name of our channel? I'm not sure, because they could actually just go to YouTube. They could go to YouTube and just search the name of our channel, and they'd be able to find the recordings.
I think
What is it called?
Dream Florence YouTube is. Let me just. I have it.
I know. I have to confess, I didn't write it down either. I don't know the name of it either.
Just a minute. Build your dream. Hashtag.
There you go.
Build your dream hashtag on passive. Build your dream hashtag on passive. I can type it in, and this is where we keep most of our YouTube. Let me.
Yes. Thank you, Mabel.
I can also post our link to join our Old Passion group chat.
Yeah.
And for those who are new with us and would like to join our group chat with WhatsApp, I can post it there.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, let me get the link and post it there. So all you need to do is just click on the link and you'll be able to join our group.
Yep.
This one, hold on, let me find it. Yeah, did I save it?
Kumaran, do you have yours? You want to share yours? Yeah,
Okay,
if you want to
Brother
share
John.
yours, you can just type it there.
okay, I've already shared the link to our group chat, OPassion. So for those of you who are new with us, you're welcome to join us.
Yeah.
And that's where we will post all the information.
Okay. What were you saying, Jeannie?
Oh no, I was just I was just going through what Dr. John shared, the last slide that Dr. John shared, that you know, we should spend on our needs and not on our wants. Because I think a lot of people got into trouble because they go on our wants, you know. This is what I want, this is the branded thing that I want, but can they afford it, you know? Yeah, and I think that's very, very true. Thank you, Dr. John. Thank you for a reminder. And thank you for reminding all of us who was present here today. Okay, is there anyone else who would like to say something or share something? Or any questions to ask? If not, I think I see Sister Debbie here. I'm not sure if it's convenient for her to talk. Sister Debbie? Is it convenient for you to speak?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Sister Mabel. Thank you, Sister Jeannie. Wow, Dr. John, I appreciate you doing this awesome presentation today. And all what you said, everything, including the profit and loss, assets and liabilities, and to pay off the debts, that is something that we have to find a way to educate our younger generation. And it's a daunting task because they run away. They feel that they know it all. But I hope we'll continue to pull them around and educate them on this, because it's everybody who has a younger person around has that problem. And we appreciate you educating us on a regular basis how to do it and how to go about it. Well, from my end, just seeing what you've done and how difficult it is to get to talk to the younger generation, I just take photos of the screenshot and send in the family chat, and I sit quiet without any comment. And then the comments start coming back. So that's how I deal with it. And I hope we'll all devise means in sharing that information with our loved ones as well. I appreciate you, Dr. John, very much. What you do and that you continue doing it, not just in one forum, but coming back here to educate our family in Singapore, Malaysia. And an awesome avatar, Brother Kumaran Ajongwen. Thank you so much for that avatar. You did an awesome job with that. Thank you. Back to you, Sister Jeannie.
Thank you, Sister Debbie. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Okay. Kumaran, you want to say something?
Yeah. I just want to continue with what Sister Debbie said. Brother John, your journey is not going to end here. We pray that you continue the knowledge you are sharing. When the apples comes, you must do something. You come with the academy or what, and you have to come and share, continue with all the founders, because like what Sister Debbie said, we have our next generations, our children's. You were sharing in our Julie pair yesterday, talking about the millennial and the Gen Z. Is it? What was that? The generation something.
The Gen Zs and
Yeah,
yeah, the
so
Gen
Gen
Zs
yes,
Z
and
and
the
millennials.
because
yeah.
like us, we went took a coffee, we take a coffee in a normal restaurant in a coffee shop, but our children, they are going to Starbucks. They're not interested going to a normal coffee. So
Mm-mm.
this is where the when the apples comes, they must know how to manage the wealth. If no means it's going to end somewhere, and
Mhm.
so that's
So-
one thing. And another thing, why this is getting delayed, is why ONPASSIVE is getting delayed. See the mindset. See the our CEO every day is communicating with the God, but our CEO never X-ray the founder's mind. But the God every day knows the God X-ray all the founder's mind. So example, when the apple come, I want to go spend there, spend here, I want to go holidays, that la, this la. So the God looking on, God knows what the founder want to do. But our CEO prays, when the apples come, they're going to do the fund, they're going to do the trust, they're going to help the poor people. So it's not connecting, it's not reconciling. So every once a week, the God say, your founder is not doing the right thing. You go back and talk to them. So this is what I think is delaying the ONPASSIVE. So go back,
Yeah.
come back to you, Brother John.
Thank
That's
you.
why to me, it's never a delay. It's just God's perfect timing.
Mhm.
ONPASSIVE is not delayed. It's just God's timing. Even in all the process, it is the timing of God. It will come in due time. And I've always said that the time now that we have is really mindset growing. And that's
Yes.
how we continue to share.
Brother
So,
John, I still remember there was once someone sharing to our sister Debbie in a deep dive. What happens when you got 100,000? She said she will go and cruising around the world. But Sister Debbie said, if I have the money, I'm going to give water in Africa. So
Mhm.
the the mindset, oh my God, then this is going to really delay the founders, I mean, the ONPASSIVE.
but I might be wrong, Dr. John and the rest of the leaders, I might be wrong, but majority of the 1.4 million accounts are held by seniors, Very few, I might be wrong. I don't have the data, but because when we share this with the youngsters, they don't believe, they don't come in. So
Mhm.
most of it are us who whether it's mature or senior people, somehow we are the one holding the keys. I really might be wrong. I know this is on record, but based on at least the team that we have, a lot of are seniors. So but we will leave a legacy. It will be left for them. So how they will learn, I think they will have their time. And Kumaran, when your apples come, I am very sure you will join the youngster at StarHub. I'm absolutely sure. Starbucks. Okay? You will join them. Okay? You won't pull them to your coffee shop or for a 110. You will spend that $7, $8 at Starbucks coffee bean. Okay?
Well,
I'm sure.
Yeah, I
Tell me
think
I'm wrong.
Sister Mabel, we had that discussion last night at Julie Pierre, the same thing. And I think you're not wrong in saying that about the significant majority of the ONPASSIVE accounts are held by seniors. Yes, if you look at the attendance at all webinars, you
Yes.
see very few youngsters there. That in itself, that is also that has its own challenges as well, because many of us see the younger generation, they can be influenced a bit more easily than us. Whether it's social media that would influence them or the Starbucks that will influence them, some of us are already set in our ways. You know, we have this African proverbs which says that, you know, a bended tree cannot be straightened. So we, these old people, now we like set in our ways, and come hell, come high water, you're not going to change me from mine. So this crusade that we're having here of actually changing our mindset so that we are moving in the same direction is very
Yeah.
crucial, because once we get this momentum, then we are also the initial custodians of that wealth, and we would have a final say in how that wealth gets transferred. And again, we had a separate presentation which was focused on all this estate planning, where you basically can control your estate even beyond the grave using trust and using, and
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen examples where the person literally says, my kid, in fact, when one of my daughters went to college, she left that particular college because she was not very motivated. She said that school has a lot of rich kids who are in college just because daddy has said you need a degree in order to be in to be in the wheel. So the kids were going through the emotions. We can actually do better by saying, I don't just want you to have a degree. We want you to be able to gain some financial knowledge, to be able to go out there and physically do something to uplift humanity. And as part of that, you now can be part of this work that I'm going to live with you, because nothing stops you from leaving everything to another organization to manage it to charity. So we need to change our mindset. We need to understand and then carry that journey to the next generation in whatever platform that they are in. We will not pull them into our platform. We may need to go to the Starbucks and meet them there.
Okay. So we have a mission, Kumaran. You know, adding to that, the initial 1.4 may be the early senior custodians of this wealth transfer, but not forgetting that ONPASSIVE will open up and continue to have sign up people coming on. So this is the second group of custodian, and the third group and the fourth group, where by that time the youngsters will come. And if the slogan still is in it to win it, they will also win it. And another thing is that the initial custodian that we are, I feel that you know, our heart is there. I love the way what Janet Butler says, you know. I used to on Passion says we will have good causes. And Janet Butler used the word passion projects. You know, we will build our passion projects. Now, these passion projects that we are going to build, we need to inspire, we need to recruit, we need to get the youngsters to come and run them. Because I can safely say I will not be able to run full time or as energetic as a young one would for the passion projects. So it will be up to us to inspire the younger ones to come. And how are they compensated? You know, the Lord will teach us. And if it is about getting the bended tree to straighten, yes, it is true. When it comes to digital, I think we will lose out. But the younger generation, I believe they will be really the one that will run off with the legacy and with the passion projects that Mr. Ashmore Farah wants us to do. So we will inspire the younger ones. Yeah.
Can I come in, Mabel?
Yes, Edith.
Yes. To me, this discussion reminds me of one of, I don't know if it has changed, one of the early goals of Mr. Mafara was to create generational wealth.
Mm.
So if the seniors are the custodians of this, for it to be effected that we create generational wealth, it can only be us when we're gone, younger people taking it from us to actually make the reality of this generational wealth, provided they manage properly. I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, they don't have to go. We don't have to go for them to inherit. As I say, we will be around to initiate, to inspire, and to start. So, and as what Dr. John says, the trust that we create will carry on the passion projects. Jeannie, what do you think? Do we have enough to close and get Dr. John to summarize, to give us the last word? Or
Can I
anyone
say
else?
something? Mabel, can
Sure,
I say something quickly?
sure.
Sure.
Yeah, Julie.
Sorry, I
Sorry.
didn't raise my hand.
Definitely,
Um,
Julie.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Dr. John, you seem to shine more on Opassion Singapore than Julie Pierre's Empowering Humanity. But that's okay. That's okay. Kudos to you. I see you've adopted your son, so I will let it be. Anyway, I hope they don't steal you away from us. That's all I can say. But great information. You have been taking up your time to teach us on the various platforms. I do appreciate you very much. One thing I want to say is that initially when I came into ONPASSIVE, and I know some other persons who came into ONPASSIVE and took accounts for our children and grandchildren. Now, when I went through the journey with ONPASSIVE, I realized that you need to create a proper mindset. You need to be educated. You need to be disciplined to handle such wealth. For me, what I did and what I'm thinking of doing is not handing that wealth to my children and grandchildren if they do not go through a process of learning themselves. So I am going to create, this is what I'm going to do, create my trusts, like Dr. John said, and put in stipulations in there that they educate themselves, they go through processes, they sit and learn from me in managing projects, in helping, assisting the poor and, my own country. And by that, they can learn. And, with the stipulations in my trust, then they would be able to inherit. But just to hand over to the youth, I don't think this is something we should be doing. I think we should all put in stipulations that they should go through learning process, like I said, training, be at our side, be there to see and learn from us. And then they would be able to create and build that proper mindset to handle such wealth. We do not want to lose our children because of money. And we know the youth, the young people, some of them, I may say, they tend to be carefree. They want to buy the expensive cars and just enjoy life. That's what they say. They want to enjoy life. But there is more to enjoying life than, going carefree and doing what they tend to deem as enjoying life. There's so much more. There's, taking care of your soul as a person, a human being. What about, that? We need to educate them. So thank you very much. Great presentation, Dr. John. Great sharing, everyone who has shared. And, you know, let us continue to educate and to uplift each and every one. And hey, we are in it to win it. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank-
100%. You know, Ginny, 100% we agree with you. Everything that you say, to have a proper trust and conditions drawn up before they can inherit, or else, you know, really the money will destroy them. So, yes, that's what we all will do. And for the writing up of the trust, we will need Dr. John again. Hallelujah. So,
Amen.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Sister Julie. So Mabel, you want to hand over to Dr. John to do the
Yes. Dr. John, to
John?
give us the last words.
Yes, over to you.
Yes, wow. I did not actually know it was going to turn out this way. It's really been a blessing to me. Every time that, you know, we talk finance, every time we talk ONPASSIVE, the passion of ONPASSIVE just grows more and more. It's really great that they stopped all the founder positions, because I would have come out from this meeting and then go try and get another ONPASSIVE account. But I think the name of this platform speaks for itself, and you can see the passion in it. It's a blessing that you guys were handpicked by the Almighty to start this journey. And my prayer is that we stay together. You know, I shared it. If you guys go and look at it, you see that when the geese fly, they fly in formation almost like the shape of an aeroplane. And once they are in that formation, they can go for hours upon hours. Why? Because the lead one is taking all the headwinds, and then at some point, and the other ones that are spread out are also taking some of it. The ones behind are just coasting. Somewhere, the lead one gets tired, drops to the back, and they just keep doing the same thing, and they can go far together. And the way that you're running this platform, and with the support of all the other people that come and try to share their own ideas, I see this like one of those geese formations that's going to go very far, much further than just waiting for ONPASSIVE to start, because what Mr. Mufari has created is a movement. Even if somebody got up and said, okay, there's no more ONPASSIVE, there's nothing that's going to stop us.
Yes.
Because we're already ONPASSIVE in our hearts. And I see the passion within yourselves. I see your mission of uplifting. I see the mission of educating. I resonate with that. And I think it was a good opportunity for us to share this evening.
Yes.
I want to just end by praying that, you know, the Almighty will continue to look after and protect all of us. We know that we are all in a different space, health-wise, family struggles, illnesses here and there, but He has a plan for us. His plan is what? To prosper us, and we want to claim that. So with that, I'm going to just end thanking you all again for giving me this opportunity to share on this platform, and wish you a good night for those of you in Singapore, Malaysia. Good morning for those of us out here west, and good afternoon to the people in between, or good evening.
Yes.
Stay blessed. We are all in it to win it.
Yes. Amen. Thank you, Dr.
Amen.
John.
Amen.
Yes, we are all in it to win it.
And it's to win it.
In it
Yes.
to win it.
Thank you, Dr.
win
John.
Yes, we are. We are all one family. Julie Pierre, I was going to say to you, you're not losing, Dr. John,
In it
because
to
we
win
are
it.
all one. We are all in
In
the same
it
place.
to
We're
win
all
it.
one family.
Yeah.
In it
You
to
know
win it.
what?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to do,
you,
John?
Dr.
John
John.
Barilla?
Thank you, everyone.
Next
In to
webinar,
win
I'm
it.
going to put my name as Julie Ajongwen. How about that?
There you go.
We all belong to the Ajongwen family.
Great
Yes.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. We follow every
How big
speaker.
Doris Ajongwen, yeah.
Sister
Yes,
Jeannie,
yes, yes.
Thank you, Sister Helen.
Sister Jeannie,
Thank
I just
you.
want to
Yes.
add in to Brother John what he said. This is why I think I shared this in Julie Pierre earlier. This once I was talking about matrimony. I I think I told
Okay.
it's not a joke. It's very important because the mindset of the founders, you know, we from the beginning we know we talk about charity, we bless and you know, so when the wealth come, the founders know how to use the apples, but then our children and their boyfriend or their girlfriend who coming the third party, they won't be have the same mindset. So I don't want them to come to approach our children just because of the wealth. So by having matrimony where all the founders they get married among the founders.
Wow.
So that
Multiply our
no,
wealth.
I was talking to
You're gonna have a matchmaking.
No. I was talking to
You're gonna
Julie
have
and Louis.
all matchmaking.
Yeah, it's very important because it's not only the wealth not it accumulate, but if you marry to the third party, it will divide it. So the wealth will divide it. So I think the matrimony is very important.
Keep it in the family.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Nice.
I'm personally going to share with our CEO to have a whole matrimony.
Well, you can have a platform take out one of the academy platform and have your training there. Oh my goodness, Kumaran.
Thank you so much, Kumaran Ajongwen. Appreciate it very much.
Good night, everyone. Good night.
Yeah, all Ajongwen
Before
on
we
this
before we
platform.
all leave, before we leave, I know I raised
Dr. P, yes.
before we leave, I know I raised my hand. I raised my hand after Brother Kumaran started talking, even though it was like a joke. But what I want to say is that Dr. John ended by saying that we found a family, right? And what ONPASSIVE or no ONPASSIVE, there's not stopping us. But there's one thing that Sister Debbie said that I'm going to leverage on. We all have a multiple passion and multiple dream, but we cannot invest in each of them. So now I'll take what is really there in my heart. I'm leading that. I know clean water is there in my heart, but I know somebody is passionate. I'll connect with them for clean water. I know kids being sick, illness, especially cancer. I know somebody that is there. I connect with them. So this is really something that we have to really start thinking before even ONPASSIVE start blessing us. Because coming to this old passion, I know people's passion. They're all, my passion is like overall humanity, but I cannot do all.
Yes.
So I take the education that I focus on for orphans. Then I'm like, but the orphan needs clean water. Who have passion for clean water? I connect with them. The orphan needs clothing. Who have passion to make sure that they have good clothes? Clean. I connect with them. So let's start thinking about this. I know all passion, Singapore, Malaysia, people already start putting that in place. We already started that in place. But this is very important. We're one family. Let's keep marching on. Good evening, everyone. We're so in need to win it.
Yes. Action plan now.
Well
action
said,
plan.
Dr. Pats. Well said.
Sharon, welcome.
The more Ajongwen, the better. Okay. The Ajongwen Dennis dynasty is ready to expand.
Really, I'm going to invite Julie Pierre to speak, and I'm going to get Julie to share John Ajongwen more often with us for his wealth of experience, and it's so appropriate. The topic is about wealth, where Mr. Ashmufara is transferring wealth to us. We need the management, we need the skill. So Dr. John Ajongwen. We are all Ajongwens here to attract you with us. Ah,
Brother
Thank you,
Kumran,
Sister
I think you were
Mabel.
talking
I've
about,
just
Sister Julie.
sorry.
I
Yes, I've just
okay.
changed my name. That's okay. Don't be jealous.
oh my God.
Wait, about the God X-ray. Remember? Okay, there's a real testimony. Remember, Brother Michael Williams said he wanted to go for the jazz party.
Yes.
So the God asking, he's telling Ash Mufare, your founder want to go for jazz party, but you talking about oblast. So it's still not matching.
It's still not balancing. That's right.
Well, and
Brother Kumran, you're talking about generation. It's Generation X, but what I call the generation, I call it the selfie generation and the all about me generation.
yes, yes, approve.
That's
Yes,
what
yes,
most of the kids are like.
yes. The selfie.
And Brother Kumran, you would have to do a singles thing on when we get Connect, on Passive Connect.
Singles.
Yeah. Yeah, build a
Single
singles club.
mingle.
Oh, all the O's are coming out. Oh my goodness. Wow, this can continue because it's so interesting to get all the O's out now. Wow. Oh God, help us.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It was a blessing. Have a good night, all of you.
Yes,
And
yes. Good night. Good
Thank
night.
stay
you.
blessed.
Good
Love you
night,
all. See you
everyone.
next
Need to
Thursday.
win
Love
it.
you
Bye.
guys. Good
Bye.
night.
Take care.
See you soon, everybody.
My brother Kumaran.